Okay, it's lucky day 13. It's a big one today. We're learning the full-size C major chord. It's a bit of a stretchy one, so I'm going to give you a few exercises to limber up your fingers. Okay, so the first thing you can do is just run them under some warm water. Just get them all kind of warmed up. And then you can do this. Stick out your hand like that, and then grab your fingers and pull them back towards you. You're going to feel a stretch right in here. Give that a few breaths. Stretch that right out. Nice. Bring your hand back, flip it around, and then bring your fingers back towards you this way, and that'll stretch this side of your forearm and your fingers and your wrist. Nice. Okay, and then bring your hand out like that, like you're doing a karate chop. Stick your thumb out like that, and then bring your thumb inward towards you like this, and you can wiggle it to the left and to the right. That's a really good one for working out all these muscles in here. And once you've done that, you can take all the muscles from the base of your palm and just stretch them right out to your fingertips. So you're just kind of giving yourself a little hand massage, being good to your hands because we're going to work them out today. Okay, so you can do that at any time if you are just feeling a little bit stiff in your fingers. Okay, so like I said, we're going to be playing a C major chord, and we're going to be answering that question of where do chords come from? How do we build a chord? How do we make a chord? Why is it being put together in this order? So we understand that we can play all these notes on the guitar, and we get the idea of an octave. You play one note, and you go up 12 steps, and you get to the octave of that note, okay? Actually, you go up 12 half steps. We'll talk about that in a little bit. So to make a scale, a musical scale, you start with one note, and you have a series of notes from that starting point to its octave, okay? And mathematically, there's so many different scales you could make. The one that we've agreed upon as human beings to sound the most musical, the most pleasing to our ears is called the major scale. And I'm going to show you how we make a major scale, first on the piano, and then I'll show you on the guitar. Okay, this is how you play a C major scale on a piano keyboard. So the first thing we need to do is find the note C, and if you don't have stickers on your keyboard, what you do is you look for the pair of black keys. So throughout the whole thing, you've got a pair of black keys, you got two of them, and you've got three of them, two of them, three of them, so forth, all throughout the whole instrument. Okay, so we find two black keys, and we go to the left, and that white key just to the left of the left black key is a C. Okay, sounds like that. And we find our other C over to the right side, and we see this right there. Got two black keys, white key to the left is our octave. So we've got a C down here and a C up here. And all we do is we play just the white keys. So we've got C, D, E, F, G, A, B, C. That's it. Anybody can do it. Okay, so it's a little bit trickier on the guitar, but while we're here, I just want to show you just a couple things. So if you remember from our musical alphabet, you can see very clearly that there's no key in between B and C, right? And also between E and F. Okay, so that rule is going to be the same on the guitar. It's just going to look a little bit different. Okay, so all these black keys are, of course, notes. All right, and all these notes are created equal, by the way. You know, it's not like the white keys are better than the black keys or anything like that. They're all equal, and I love the guitar because it's kind of like the great equalizer. Nothing's split up into black and white, but a piano keyboard is a nice way to see how things are kind of laid out, right? So there's our C major scale. Let's see if we can play it on the guitar now, and I know you can. So here we go. Let's get our fingers moving today by playing a C major scale. So for starters, we're going to play all of these notes just on the B string. All right? So when we play our B string open, that's the lowest note that string can sing. It's a B, of course. If we go to our very next note, we'll find it on fret 1, and that's our C. Okay, and that's our starting point for this scale. We're going to go from this C on fret 1 all the way up to fret 13. where we'll find our octave of that C. Okay, so we're going to travel up this whole fretboard. Start with this one, C on fret 1. Go ahead and do this with me. Okay, then we're going to go to fret 3 to get our D. Let's play this one. Now from one fret to the very next fret is called a half step. You could think of all of these frets as like steps of one of those staircases where the steps are really close together and you have to like skip over every other step to make it comfortable to walk up. It's kind of like that. So from this fret right here on fret 1 to fret 2 would be a half step. Okay, so of course that makes from fret 1 to fret 3 a whole step. Okay, so we've got C, whole step to D. We're going to do another whole step to get to our E note. Okay, so if you have dots, they're kind of helping out a little bit right now. You have this shape of fret 1, 3, and then 5. And we're giving these notes names, C, D, and E. Okay, if you remember from our musical alphabet, right after E is an F. So that's a half step apart. We have an E on fret 5. We have an F on fret 6. Good. Let's keep going. We're going to have 3 whole steps now to get to our final C. So we're on fret 6 with an F. Let's go a whole step to our G. See how we skipped over that dot there? Let's go a whole step again to our A. We're going to skip over that dot. That's an A. We're going to go another whole step to fret 12. This is our B, which is an octave of our open B string, right? And to complete the scale, we go up to fret 13 for our C. Nice. Okay, let's run that whole thing again. Come on down to fret 1. Play these with me. C. Good. Whole step to D on fret 3. Another whole step. Fret 5 for E. Half step to fret 6. F. Good. Whole step for a G. That's fret 8. Another whole step for A on fret 10. Whole step to fret 12. That's a B. And fret 13, a half step, you get C. Good. Let's run those all one more time and then we'll see if we can go in reverse. Okay. Remember that tip I gave you when we were learning notes on the A string? Try to picture these letters as like little stickers on your fretboard. Okay. So we want to try to memorize these the best we can. Okay, here we go. Here's C on 1. Good. D on 3. E on 5. F on 6. G on 8. A on 10. B on 12. And C on 13. We're going to go down now that way. 13 for C one more time. Nice. Come on down, fret 12 for B. 10 for A. 8 for G. Good. 6 for F. 5 for E. 3 for D. And 1 for C. Okay, and if I play that without saying anything, if I just go up the scale, maybe you'll recognize this. This is the old do, re, mi, fa, sol, la, ti, do. Good, that's the C major scale on the B string. So we've played our C major scale. We're working on memorizing all of these notes. And for starters, I think we can definitely memorize that fret 1 is a C note. And that's the first note that we're going to put together today as we build our C major chord. Okay? The fourth of the 4 magic guitar chords. This is the hardest one, I believe. I can still remember it like it was yesterday when I was 13 years old, kind of trying to work this chord out. So we're going to build it in steps just like we have before. Let's place finger number 1 on fret 1 of the B string. That's a C. Okay. And let's strum just from the G string down. So the tricky part here is to get that E string to ring clear. Might get that. Okay. This is our very kind of miniature C chord. You actually have all the stuff you need in the C chord right here. You got a C, you have an E, and you have a G. But we want to keep going. We want to make this a big C chord. So let's add another finger in. We're going to place finger number 2 on fret 2 of the D string. So that's a stretch in between those two fingers. Okay, do the best you can with that. Reach over. Tips of your fingers, let's strum from the D string, fret 2, down. Nice. We've got one more, hang in there. We've got to get our third finger over to fret 3 of the A string. Okay, let's see if we can do that. That's the last one. We don't have anything going on in the low E. Okay, we're going to skip over that one. Strum from your A string, fret 3, all the way through. That's a C major chord. Hold it together the best you can. Good, squeeze. Maybe you're getting some buzzing because these fingers are back too far. It's alright. That's it. Good, shake that off. That's a tough one. Whew. It's your full size C major chord. Nice job. Okay, we'll come back to this. Okay, so we've built a C major scale on the B string, up and back. Now we're going to build it starting on the A string, fret 3. If you remember from Carol of the Bell Reeves, that's a C. It's a whole octave lower than this C. Okay, and we're going to make this C major scale using a whole bunch of strings in what's called the open position. So what this means is we're going to be using open strings, and in this case we're not going to go past fret 3 at all. We're going to keep it right here. Okay, so let's start with fret 3 of the A. That's a C. Next letter in the alphabet's a D, so we'll play our D string. Next letter is E. We find that on fret 2. And then we have an F, just a half step higher on fret 3. Good. Next letter is a G, open G. Because the alphabet starts over again, we're looking for an A that we find on fret 2. Nice. And then an open B. And then finally, we finish off with our last C on fret 1. Okay, let's do that again. Come on down to fret 3. C. Good. Open D. Fret 2 for E. F on fret 3. Open G. Fret 2 for A. Good job. Open B. And then C. I had a student once ask me, why do we learn scales? Well, scales make up songs, right? If you want to do that, you need to learn your scales, okay? Even if you don't want to do that, scales are good for you. So that's a C major scale, okay? And if you look, you can see that that C major chord that we learned fits right inside all of those notes that we just ran through, okay? So you use scales to build chords like this. We start off with our first note. So remember, that's a C on fret 3 of the A string. This is called the root note of our chord. Okay. Now, instead of playing the open D along with that, we're going to skip over the D and play fret 2 of our E note. Okay. Why do we do that? Well, because if we play fret 3, C, and an open D string together, we get that sound. okay? Now that's not a bad sound, but to build this C major chord, we would rather have fret 2 and get that sound. Okay, so chords are built in these things called thirds. Okay, so if you consider the first note that we started with, number 1, the D string, the D note would be number 2, and then the E would be the third. Okay, so there's the third note of the scale, and we get a third there. It's called a major third. All right, we need one more note to make this C major chord. It's not going to be F. We're going to skip over F and go to our open G. And if we play these 3 notes, C, E, and G, you get a major chord, a C major chord. This is called a C major triad because there are just 3 notes, C, E, and G. You can play that on a piano, call it the triad claw. You make a little claw with the 3 fingers and plink it down on the piano, and you get a C major chord. Okay? Now in guitar land, we play C just a little bit different. If I were to strum all 6 strings with just holding those down, I'm going to get that chord, which is cool, but it's not a true C major chord. C major chord is only going to have C's, E's, G's, and that's it. Okay? So I want to close off my B string on fret 1 to get a C note because it's in the chord, and then I have an open E string, which is fair game. We can play that, and there's our C major chord. Okay? Usually you try to skip over your low E string, even though the E is inside that chord. It sounds a little messy. See, it sounds just a little more stable if we can start with this fella and strum down. Okay, that's a better sound, in my opinion. So there's your C major chord and C major scale. All right, the fundamentals of music. So we're nearing the end of day 13. Before we sign off, let's get our guitar journal out. And before we write down everything we did, we learned some new notes today. Okay, so if you can, find that page that has the guitar fretboard on it, and let's fill out the notes on the B string. Okay, here we are filling out notes on the guitar fretboard. So we started today with C on fret 1 of the B string. Okay, so we got that one figured out. Remember how we built our scale? We started with C, and we went a whole step to fret 3, where we found a D note, and then a whole step where we found our E. Half step gave us an F, and then we did a whole step to G, another whole step to A, whole step to B that we already knew there on fret 12. Okay, and kind of a bonus one coming off the page here. On fret 13, we have a C note right there. Awesome. Filling it in. Nice job today, and that's it for day 13.